Hey familia, Miranda here. Welcome to another episode of First Viewing where I share my thoughts and recommendations with you guys on films that I watched for the very first time. I know it's been a couple weeks, you guys, really wasn't intentional, but life happens and then, I don't know, I just kind of got like in a yucky kind of mood and didn't really feel like filming, but here I am today, you guys, bringing to you a load of films that I watched for the first time. Pretty heavy still on the horror, considering a lot of them were from my little horror marathon from last month in October, but I do have other films in here as well. So I'm going to try and push through them as quickly as possible. And so let's get on into it. All right, so first film that I have here is No Hard Feelings. You guys, I should have watched this sooner. This film was absolutely freaking hilarious. I so love this one. I highly recommend you check this one out. If you are just looking for some freaking good laughs, this is it. It is such a great comedy. The chemistry between your two main people is just on spot, you guys. And yeah, so you basically have Jennifer Lawrence's character here. She gets hired by this kid's parents to pretty much date him because he's just very shy, kind of in his own little box, in his own little bubble kind of kid or whatever. And so and just everything, it's an interesting mix of like comedy and just emotions. Like, this film is just so much fun. It is so hilarious. It's charming. It's sweet, like all of that, you guys. And I really enjoyed this one very much. And basically what she did was pretty much just kind of get him ready for college. So yeah, there's this one scene, you guys, on the beach where she's like butt naked, whooping ass. It was just, oh my gosh, I was just dying laughing, you guys. It was so hilarious. But definitely check this one out. I can easily say this is probably going to be in my top 5 of the year. This is honestly one of my new all-time favorite comedies, you guys. Just so freaking hilarious. All right, so next up we have this Joan Crawford double feature. I did check out both films. So Straight Jacket, I actually kind of like this one a little bit better than Berserk. And Straight Jacket, so basically you have this woman, she went away to obviously the loony bin because she came home one night to see that her husband was with another woman. And so she basically, kind of chopped them up or whatever. And so yeah, she went away, then she was let out. And when she was let out, she went to go live with her daughter. And a lot of things kind of start happening. Some people get killed and stuff like that. And so they kind of think that she's still kind of off her rocker or whatever. But the twist of the story, you kind of know that it's going to happen. But then when it does actually happen, it's a little bit weird. It gets a little weird for sure. But overall, I really like Straight Jacket a lot. Berserk, this one actually takes place at the circus. And I did like the circus setting. You did get to see, like some circus acts and stuff like that. There was one that actually kind of got my anxiety going a little bit about this like elephant walking over a bunch of like women, and I was just thinking, oh my gosh, one of these women, they're just gonna get plastered by this elephant. But anywho, you basically have this woman, and so there's these people that keep showing up dead and stuff like that, because I forget exactly, but it's something to do with like the circus and like trying to close it down or something like that, along those lines. The twist for this though, I really didn't care. Like, there's a certain person that comes into the picture and then that kind of just gives the twist away. And yeah, I just didn't really care for the twist in this, but it was an all right, watch. I would definitely recommend you checking them both out. But yeah, I definitely thought they were both pretty fun. All right, so next up we have Pay the Ghost. This one, you guys, honestly, I thought was pretty boring. I know it's supposed to be based on kind of like I guess you want to say like an Irish folk horror of some sort. But I just really could not get into the story. It wasn't very exciting or anything like that. But basically you have this dad, he goes to this fair with his son. His son gets kidnapped, I guess, just disappears out of nowhere, and there's no trace of him. And so it leads into this like folk horror type thing, like I said. And basically it's him trying to track down his son. Like, a year passes and everything, and so there's like signs and stuff, that his son could still be alive or whatever. And it's basically somehow him crossing over to the other side and bringing his son back, which I don't know. It wasn't for me, you guys. Honestly, I wouldn't waste my time watching this one. All right, next up we have Spontaneous. I really enjoyed this one, you guys. I thought it was super fun. Basically, it takes place in high school. It is a good kind of like coming of age story, but with the whole aspect of these high school students just randomly blowing up. You get plenty of gore in here, like blood and guts just flying everywhere. It's kind of wild, but yeah, I definitely really enjoyed this one. And like, these kids, they're just blowing up for no reason, and it never really goes into an actual reason on why it's happening or whatever. They basically kind of create this kind of pill to help kind of stop it from happening or whatever. So I don't know. It was interesting for sure. Definitely an interesting kind of coming of age story. I really enjoyed your two main characters here. I do really like what's his name? Chris Plummer, right? Charlie Plummer. Charlie Plummer. There we go. But yeah, so definitely check this one out. It's super fun, you guys, and I definitely think you will like it. Like I said, there is a ton of gore in it. All right, so the next one I have here is The Brood. Now, I will say, you guys, I kind of had a bit more higher expectations going into this one, considering this had come recommended from several people. And I don't know, I guess it just didn't live up to what I was hearing on it. Like, it wasn't as bloody or as disturbing as I kind of made it out to be, I guess. It's an okay watch. I mean, I definitely watch it again, but it's not one that I would watch like a lot. But basically you have this woman, she's going through like psychotherapy and stuff like that. And it's just, she's kind of locked away. And so there's these little things, these little creatures that, I mean, sure, they're definitely on the creepy side, but they are terrorizing her younger daughter and her husband and stuff. And so it's an interesting kind of storyline. And there's the one really bizarre scene that was like, what the hell? But yeah, it's interesting for sure. I wouldn't say it's necessarily disturbing. And then, yeah, there's not a whole lot of blood in this one. Like I said, I think I just kind of let my expectations too high for this one. But I mean, it's solid nonetheless. I mean, definitely check it out because it's interesting. All right, so next up we have The Devil's Backbone. I really, really enjoyed this one, you guys. If you liked Pan's Labyrinth from Guillermo del Toro, you will like The Devil's Backbone. Like, Guillermo del Toro is just such an amazing director, you guys, and he just has such beautiful, beautiful work. And The Devil's Backbone. Now, this is not scary by any means at all, but the real horror of this film comes from the villain. The main villain in here, it's just his mentality and everything that he will do just because he's a greedy person. It just, wow. I cannot stress enough how amazing this film is, and even everything. So it takes place like at an orphanage. It's literally out in the middle of nowhere, like kind of in the desert. And mind you, the whole desert scenery is just absolutely stunning. There's some really great cinematography in here. But you have this kid, he gets left at this orphanage by his tutor. And so he, it's all boys there and everything. And he basically befriends sort of a ghost that's there. And basically the ghost is trying to tell him to like basically help him to get revenge on this person who killed him and stuff. And, they were thinking it was somebody else. But yeah, like I said, it's not scary at all. But there is some kind of horror elements in here. It could be a little bit creepy at times, sometimes when the little ghost kid pops up and stuff like that. But just watch this, you guys. It's just some amazing, amazing work from Guillermo del Toro. And it is very, very tragic, you guys. Very tragic. Because there are some things in here, kind of some hints to something that's going to happen later on in the film. And so it's very sad, you guys. Very kind of heartbreaking story. And that too just kind of adds to the horror elements in this film. But it is simply amazing, and you should definitely give it a watch. All right, so moving on to House, you guys. This film is freaking wild. It is just a lot of kind of randomness, but oh my goodness, this is just so freaking bizarre. This house. So this girl and her group of friends, they go on vacation to her aunt's house, and this house is like, you want to say possessed or whatever, but it's just a lot of strange things happen in this house. And it's basically that this house is just hungry. I don't want to give like too much away from the story and the aunt and all of that. Just watch it for yourself, but no, this is just a wild ride. This is like a film that you've never seen before. It is just so freaking weird. And it's pretty cheesy too, you guys. There's a lot of cheesy things that happen in this film. But yeah, pretty much you have this house that is alive, and just everything, like one thing after another is happening to all these girls and stuff. And it's just super freaking weird, you guys. And there's just a lot of interesting effects in here and everything. I mean, it's like black and white, and then you got like, spurts of color and all of that. And so it's just so interesting, and it's just so unique. It's not like anything I've ever seen before. but it is super, super weird, you guys. And it is in Japanese, but obviously you can watch it with the subtitles and stuff. But yeah, so it's an interesting story for sure. I do like the idea of it. I thought it was super fun. It's just really bizarre. All right, so next we have Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Now, this film, you guys, as you would expect, it is cheesy as hell. That's for sure. But there is some decent gore, some decent kills in here. Obviously, I mean, the effects are not great at all. Like, it literally looks like Pooh and a piglet are just wearing like freaking masks. Like, they just pull on the mask and whatever. Like, you could tell from that. But it was super, super cheesy, you guys. I mean, I like how at the beginning of the film, they kind of go into like this whole storyline. I'm just curious though, because they let you know what happened to Eeyore, but the rest of them, like, they didn't let you know what happened to them. They just don't show up in the film at all. And I wish that they would have included actually all of the characters, say like Tigger and, you know, Kanga and Roo and stuff like that. But they weren't included in the film at all. So, I mean, they just kind of left them out, which kind of sucks. I mean, you'd think that they would include everybody, but they didn't. But yeah, so it's basically just Pooh and Piglet. Which Piglet you have right here on the back. They're not really very scary looking, you guys. Like I said, it just looks like they're freaking wearing a mask. They made Pooh like super fat, which I don't get how they have this fat Pooh running around and stuff like that. I mean, come on, let's face it, for real. Like, Pooh's lazy. But yeah, so it was just super cheesy, you guys. Like I said, they just kind of pop up everywhere and are just killing off these people and stuff like that, because it's basically Christopher Robin left them. And so, I mean, yeah, you get Christopher Robin in here, but yeah, they left him. Christopher Robin left them, and he decided to come back with his fiance, and then yeah, he realized that, you know, like, Pooh and Piglet just weren't who they were before, and so yeah, they basically take Christopher Robin hostage, and yeah, so it's just a lot of just dumb stuff happening and whatnot. It was pretty dumb, you guys, to be honest. Super cheesy. Some of the kills, like I said, they were okay. He got some gore, but it's not too like overly excessive. There's this one car scene where Pooh's in the car, and I don't know why. He was just like, you could see like he was smiling, and it was like the funniest thing ever. I don't know why. I just like died laughing at his freaking smile when he's in this car. But yeah, so if you're into the whole cheesy stuff, then definitely check it out. I know that there will be a second one coming, so I'm curious to see what they will do with that. Considering that Piglet kind of got left out of the picture towards the end, which I'm surprised that they did that. With like the whole like sledgehammer thing, that's kind of pretty accurate though, because I remember once seeing a pig get slaughtered, and that's literally what they do, is they take a sledgehammer to the head of the pig and just knock it out. It's crazy. But anywho, so Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Let me know if you guys have seen this and what you guys thought about it. I'm curious to know. But yeah, it was some cheesy fun for sure. All right, so next up we have Talk to Me. This is a pretty solid watch. I did enjoy this one very much. It does definitely have its creepy elements, but it's not like overly scary or anything like that. I mean, I'm sure everybody already kind of knows what this is about, but basically this hand, it takes these people to the other side and kind of puts like this sort of demon, I guess, into their body and stuff for like a few seconds and whatnot. And it's always different every time. So what gets to you kind of is every time you don't know who's going to pop up. So it's just some random person there. They could be like totally mutilated or whatever the heck. And so that kind of gets to you. But it definitely does have some creepy elements to it as the film like goes along and stuff. But yeah, I thought it was a solid watch. And so yeah, definitely check it out. All right, so next one I have here is Seance. I actually enjoyed this one, you guys. I mean, it wasn't really anything that, we haven't seen before. But overall, I thought it was a pretty solid watch. You basically have this group of girls. They live in this, like, prestigious, like, girls' school or whatever. And so they do this seance to call to this one girl who died there, like, several years ago. And so they think it basically kind of turns into a prank gone wrong kind of thing, you know? And so I did pretty much get the, like, partially who the killer was and whatnot, and then the presence of this one girl here. So, I mean, like I said, it's a solid watch. If you're into the whole kind of seance thing, it definitely does give some creepy vibes here and there and whatnot. And, you know, there's some decent like kills and stuff, decent gore and whatnot. So I mean, I'd say definitely check it out. I thought it was enjoyable. It's not like your world's greatest like seance flick or anything like that, but you know, I thought it was fun. All right, so yummy, you guys. I cannot recommend this one enough. This one is freaking wild. It is such a fun little zombie flick that I think is probably like flown under the radar for many. I'd been hearing some good things about this one, so I finally decided to watch it. And yeah, man, I was surprised at how freaking good this was. You get plenty of gore and guts, and there's zombies eating, you know, the people and all of that. And yes, it was super fun, you guys. It basically takes place in this like hospital facility. Because you have this girl, she was going in to go get like a breast reduction, and her spouse, or her fiance, I should say, he was kind of lurking around, and let's just say he kind of unleashed a obviously zombie, you know, cannibalistic zombie, whatever, that he did not know about. And so yeah, she pretty much infected everybody in the hospital, and it was just crazy nuts, you guys. Just it's a wild ride for sure. So if you like the gore and the guts and all of that, it's also very funny, you guys. There's some funny elements to this film for sure. But definitely, you know, check it out. It's a fun one. All right, so I did check out Video Murders. I was very underwhelmed by this one, you guys. Probably a one and done for me. You basically have this dude who goes off killing prostitutes by strangling them. You literally get like maybe 2 strangles and then an intent to. And then basically after that, it's just like the police like on a manhunt for the killer, who pretty much kind of from the beginning made himself known or whatever. Like he wasn't very good about hiding himself from being the killer or whatever. But yeah, so it just wasn't very exciting, and it just, I mean, come on, it's just strangling. Like there's like no bloody factors or anything like that to this film. So it's not quite exactly what I was expecting. I guess, I don't know, I was just underwhelmed. So this is probably a no-go for me. So we got Video Murders. All right, so the next film that I have here is Green Street Hooligans. This is another one that I highly recommend. This one actually came recommended to me from my good friend John over at Platix 2. He raved so much about this film, so I finally decided to give it a watch, and man, it is a great film. It is intense. It is brutal. I did not expect to get all sentimental considering what exactly this is actually like kind of like based on. Not that it's like a true story or anything, but I definitely feel like this had that like true story vibes. But Green Street Hooligans here, you guys, or in the film, the group is actually known as Green Street Elite, and basically they are like these die-hard like super fans of soccer, and more specifically West Ham. So it does take place obviously, you know, in that area, because you have like the West Ham soccer team. It talks about, I think it's Millway or something like that, Manchester United, all that. And so, I mean, sports, they have some crazy fans out there, but especially when it comes to soccer, like not even just in like, you know, like Great Britain, that area and stuff like that, but like all over the world, soccer has some pretty wild fan base and stuff. So, it just has a lot to do with them getting into these brawls and stuff like that, just because like, you know, something was said about their team or whatever. And so it just goes all hardcore. There's like some blood in here, you guys, from just these insane fights. And I mean, they're just street fights, you guys, but literally all that just because something bad was said about like the soccer team that you're a fan of. And it just kind of turns into this like whole rivalry and stuff like that. And like I said, with this film, I did not expect to get all sentimental, but there's definitely a few things in this film that are just so heartbreaking. I just couldn't help but get all teary-eyed over them and stuff. Because like I said, there's just some crazy like rival. They don't necessarily call themselves gangs, but they call themselves firms. So there's some groups in here that they're just like hardcore rivals because, you know, they're all for their team and whatnot. But some of it actually led to, you know, death and stuff. So I said it's pretty dang brutal because there's a lot of fighting in this film. But basically, Elijah Wood's character, he actually goes to London or whatever to go visit his sister, who he hadn't seen in a very long time because he got kicked out of school. And so he befriends, this is his his sister's husband's brother. And so they become really good friends, and he is kind of the leader of this firm, if you will. So he kind of like teaches him the ways and just like stand your ground and stuff like that. And he really gets into it as well, you guys. And so he kind of took from that experience and stuff, towards the end and whatnot. But it is a fantastic film, but it is pretty brutal, you guys. It's a little hard to handle some of the fight scenes and stuff in here. So definitely be aware about that. But it is an amazing film, you guys. So definitely check it out. All right, so when I did my Sandra Bullock collection, a lot of you guys had recommended Love Potion #9, and yes, you guys, this was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. It is such a cute and funny film. I mean, I love the concept of it about these two, basically they're co-workers, and so they come up with, they get their hands on this potion and they use it kind of in experiments with like chimpanzees and whatnot. And so then they, test it on themselves and stuff. And so, yeah, it kind of gets them what they want. But in the process, then they kind of fall for each other and stuff. And so it is a super fun film, you guys. It's super funny as well. I definitely had a good time with this. And I just thought it was a kind of cute little rom-com. So definitely check it out. Sandra, she's awesome in here, you guys. I absolutely adored her. But definitely check it out. All right, so the next one I have here is Nora's Hair Salon. This one, you guys, honestly, I just really wasn't feeling it. This is no barber shop, no, beauty shop. It just didn't have the same feel, didn't have that same, like, togetherness like in those other films. I just felt like it lacked some character chemistry. I mean, I am absolutely digging the cast in this for sure, but it just was no barbershop or beauty shop. It just didn't really feel like that same kind of family vibes going on there or anything like that. It was okay for what it is, but again, it didn't quite live up to what I would have expected, especially from a cast like that. All right, next up is this film here called Maria Full of Grace. This one, you guys, honestly, it was rather heartbreaking, but it was a very, very powerful film, in my opinion. You basically have this girl, Maria, who she lives in Colombia. She's only like 17, and so she is pregnant. She works on a kind of a work line where they take the thorns off of roses and they, make them into bunches and stuff. And so she hates her job, and she's just found out that she's pregnant. Her family literally expects, like, everyone in her family works, but they literally expect like her to, well, I wouldn't say her sister though. Her sister, she basically expects Maria to help her out with her expenses and her kid and all of that. And so they're always asking her for money and stuff. And so it's like she never really has anything for herself. And so she wants to kind of find something better for her. And so she kind of takes this job as a mule, is what they call them. And she swallows down a bunch of packets of heroin to take over the border and into New York. And so it's just kind of crazy. I mean, just the thought of her doing that and having like these little bunches of heroin that are inside these like balloons and having them in her stomach, which I think she had around like, I don't know, like 50, 60, 70 or so in her stomach. And with the baby in there and everything, it's just freaking crazy. They tried to get her, at the airport and stuff and asking her if she was like transporting anything. And so, I mean, she came like so close to being found out, but they saw that she was pregnant and stuff. And so, yeah, she makes her way to New York, and it's just kind of a little crazy ride for her because one of the girls that's doing the same thing as her, she ends up, dying along the way and stuff. And so she goes to stay with that girl's sister, and it's just her kind of seeing her life and then, her baby and all of that and along the way. And so she's planning on going back to Colombia and all that. And so she's kind of like on the fence. Do I go back? Do I stay? Kind of thing. And so honestly, there is just a harsh truth to this. And I really enjoyed it very, very much, even though it is pretty heartbreaking and just delicate matters at hand. But yeah, it's in Spanish, you guys, but you can watch it with the subtitles and everything. But honestly, it was a very, very powerful film, and I really enjoyed it. All right, next up is this film here called Eddie. I do enjoy Whoopi Goldberg, you guys, but this film wasn't as great as I wanted it to be. I mean, it was decent for what it is. You get plenty of, like on court time and stuff like that. But basically, Whoopi Goldberg's character, she attends a Knicks game, and then she is wins this kind of contest, and she ends up being like coach for the day or whatever, which actually ends up leading into a permanent thing. But I don't know, it just wasn't as funny as I thought it was going to be. I'm sure that maybe for its time, it was funnier. I think this came out like early 90s or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know. I just kind of wanted more from it. I mean, there's definitely, some funny moments for sure. And then obviously the whole like basketball aspect of it is fine and everything. It's just, I wanted more from it. I mean, I watch it again, but it's just not anything like over the top, funny, like hardcore basketball type stuff. But yeah, it was decent. All right, so the next film I have is this one here called Now and Then. This one, too, I cannot recommend this one enough, you guys. This is such a great, great coming of age film, but it has a stacked cast. I mean, Christina Ricci, Thora Birch, Gabby Hoffman, Ashley Aston Moore, Melanie Griffith, Demi Moore, Rosie O'Donnell, and Rita Wilson, which I forgot how much I like Rita Wilson, you guys. I need to get some more films of hers. But yeah, so basically you have these four girls. They're all friends, and it takes place during this one summer. And this little kind of like adventure and stuff, and just everything that kind of happened that summer and whatnot. And then of course the older ones, that's them when they're older. You don't really get too much of them when they were older, which I kind of would have liked to have seen more from that. I didn't really feel like their chemistry as they were older, but you do get, there's some scenes in the beginning and towards the end where they are there and stuff like that. But basically the four girls, like I said, it's the summertime, and they are trying to save up this money to buy this like tree house. And then also they do this like seance or whatever, and they think that they've awoken this kid who's in the cemetery that it's just, his tombstone just says, Dear Johnny. He died at a really young age, and so they think that they've awoken him and stuff. And so they kind of go on this adventure to find out more about like who killed him, what happened to him and stuff. And so it's just a very, very fun and very funny. It is very, very funny, you guys. Honestly, I think Christina Ricci steals the show in this one. She was definitely my favorite of the girls. I would have liked to have seen more from Ashley Aston Moore. I know that she did Overdose later on and stuff, but she was pretty good too. She was pretty funny, and so I would have liked to have seen more from her. But yeah, all the girls were absolutely great in here, you guys, and this is just such a very charming little coming of age film, very heartwarming and stuff. And I love the chemistry, like I said, between the girls when they were younger and stuff. It's just so like spot on and everything. And so I definitely check this one out if you have not seen it, you guys. It is so, so good. And you also do actually have Devon Sawa in here, so it was nice to see him and Christina together again, and kind of as love interest as well. So that was nice. But yeah, so it's excellent, you guys. Definitely check it out. All right, so we're getting down to the last two. So this one, House of D, this is another one too that I would highly recommend. I mean, Robin Williams, Anton Yelchin, both excellent, excellent in here. But basically, Anton Yelchin's character, it's this, it all takes place, I guess, during this 1 year. He's 13 years old. He doesn't have a dad or anything like that. And his mom, so his dad passed, and the mom, she's just been like super depressed about it and everything. And so she's not really in the right kind of mental state. And so he has befriended the Robin Williams character who plays Pappas, who's basically a janitor at the school that he attends, and it's like a private school. I forget if it's like Catholic or Christian type school, but anywho, they just get into some just kind of fun stuff, and just they just have a good time. That's all. I love the chemistry between the two of them. It's just absolutely, it's adorable. Okay, but it basically this is Anton Yelchin's character when he's older. He has gone away. He lives, I think it's like Italy or something like that. And so he kind of hadn't thought back to his past or anything like that, about to that specific year when he was 13. And so he wanted to tell his son, but unfortunately when he got home, his son was already asleep. And so he starts telling his wife his story about Pappas, about everything that happened, his dad, his mom, and all of that stuff. And so then, towards the end, he actually returns back to New York, and it's a very, very heartwarming film, you guys. I absolutely love this one so, so much. I don't really want to go too much into it, but I would definitely say check it out. It is so, so worth the watch. House of D, like I said, Anton Yelchin, you guys. He is just, it's like a coming of age story, and he's just so good in it, you guys. He's so good. If he was still here today, you guys, honestly, he'd be doing wonders, that's for sure. But yeah, House of D, I recommend it. All right, last but not least, I finally checked out Election. This is one that I will definitely see about upgrading to the Criterion down the road, but I definitely enjoyed this one. It is just kind of at times bananas. It is just so, like, Reese Witherspoon, her character in this is almost just so freaking unlikable, man. Talk about, like, I don't know, just, you know, trying to be Miss Perfect and, you know, all that. But in Matthew Broderick's character, poor dude, I really felt for his character in this film and just him like kind of down spiraling and everything, and all because of a damn freaking election, man. Like, I always hated that when in like high school and stuff like that, and it just got so crazy at times, and that's all people would ever talk about is the freaking election and stuff. And I know how hardcore it can be sometimes. But this film, I mean, you have a great cast, great performances, and it is just overall a very, very fun watch. It's very funny, and I can see why this film definitely does get a lot of love. So I'm happy to have finally watched it, and like I said, I will be upgrading down the road. So we have Election. So that is it for today's video, you guys. Let me know if you have seen any of these films and your thoughts on them. I would love to know. Thank you so much for watching. Join the family if you have not, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.